With the exploration of the Absolute Universe in recent months with different Absolute superheroes, Absolute Flash is the newest member to join this series. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. And already, its issues have made the readers stand on the edge with its story and world building. This universe of comics yet again follows the trend of changing the script of these familiar backstories of iconic superheroes and bringing them out in a new, more raw and rustic light. Thus, here are the top 5 moments from the series up until number 5, which, if James Gunn wants to bring to the DCU in the future, can serve as notes for. Witnessing Alan suspended in the air performing a test as the Flash, West freaks out, and due to this commotion, a malfunction occurs. After the dust of the subsequent explosion settles, West feels dazed and shaken, while in the next scene, he looks at Barry Allen's corpse on the floor. Released on March 19, 2025, we are introduced to Wallace West, a teenager running at lightning speeds, running from the horrors he witnessed 2 days ago. It is revealed that 2 days ago, he sneaked into a secret lab at Fort Fox, where the genius scientist Barry Allen was working on a top-secret project called Project Olympus. At the end of the issue, we are given a glimpse of who we can expect as the series' big villain. The time jumps to a year later after the destruction at Fort Fox, where we see a mysterious figure accessing the files and footage of the day of the explosion and of Wallace West. This ominous figure is widely speculated to be Mirror Master, who declares that he wants to witness the world fall. With these statements, it's believed that he will have a big role to play in the series, even with other villains in the entire Absolute Universe. Thinking he had caused this death and severe catastrophe in the lab, Wallace tries to run, where he finds out he can run at the speed of light. Released on June 18, 2025, Wallace is dreaming of the day his mother was buried after her death, where he sees his father putting on a brave face. Thus, when he goes to her grave to get one final look at her, he sees a glowing apparition of Barry Allen inside it. This ghoulish apparition is begging Wallace for help, reaching out to him with its semi-tangible hands. This makes many people speculate that Barry Allen might still be alive, although just as his consciousness inside Wallace. Some also speculate that this might be another version of the previous Flash, trying to guide him to help himself out. Thus, after accepting what he has done, West returns and retrieves Barry's body to bury it with proper respect. Then, West picks up the Flash suit Barry was using and takes on his legacy. This shift shows Wallace accepting his mistake and trying to turn into a savior from being a fugitive on the run. Here, we can see Grodd asking for Wallace to help Heatwave as he claims that this experimental subject was suffering with no one to turn to. But since it was still out of control and aggressive, Wallace decided to fight it and bring it under control. Released on July 16, 2025, this issue brings us to the first villain that Wallace has to face after assuming the identity of the Flash. It's revealed that Heatwave was also one of the experiments under Project Olympus that escaped the Fort Fox laboratory. This marks the first big challenge that this new Flash must overcome if he is to continue the legacy that Barry left behind. Do you agree with our picks? Tell us in the comments down below. James Gunn has been on a roll after the release of Superman, and here's every major reveal by Gunn about Superman and his future projects. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Being a lighter and colorful take on the character of Superman, monologues and dialogue-heavy scenes weren't really James Gunn's style. Even if he did, it would probably be for comedic effect. Surprisingly enough, the DCU flick does feature a 12-minute dialogue scene between Lois Lane, played by Rachel Brosnahan, and Clark Kent, played by David Corenswet. Being weary of a world that had turned against the very superhero they prayed for, Superman flies through the open balcony of Lois Lane's apartment, where the two sit down to have a heart-to-heart talk about who Superman really is, while Lois Lane contemplates breaking up with him. James Gunn has been hammering and toiling away to create a cinematic universe that these DC characters can call their home. With the release of Superman, and the film getting rave reviews, including one from me, there has been a ton of chatter and revelations by director James Gunn about Superman and the DCU. From the potential return of Henry Cavill to James Gunn's DCU to Bradley Cooper almost starring as Lex Luthor instead of Nicholas Hoult, James Gunn's Superman is filled with riddles and secrets that Gunn recently revealed in the Happy Sad Confused podcast. Well, here's every major Superman reveal by James Gunn and what it means for the DCU. Throughout his extensive Hollywood career, James Gunn has always relied on songs from the 70s and the 80s to put the audience in a groove. Compared to his other superhero movies, Superman has a lack of songs and rather relies on the music score composed by John Murphy and David Fleming to set the tone of the movie. Although there are songs in the movie, they are used sparingly throughout the entire 129-minute runtime. Remember, punk rocker in the closing credits. During his talks with the Happy Sad Confused podcast, the director reveals that the 12-minute talking scene was the biggest creative risk that he took in a superhero movie, but it paid off well. Before he was cast in the role of Jor-El alongside Angela Sarafian as Lara Lorvan, Bradley Cooper was initially considered by James Gunn to portray the role of Lex Luthor. However, the actor revealed in the podcast that he wanted Lex Luthor to be contemporary of Superman's age. And since Bradley Cooper was a little bit older, he wouldn't fit in the age range of David Corenswet's Superman. Gunn admitted that Cooper would have been a great Lex. With that age factor in mind, Gunn decided to take Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. Gunn revealed in the Happy Sad Confused podcast that this decision was scary, since he hadn't done it before. Several of the original scores had to be toned down and made lighter to fit the theme of the movie, and the movie, Jor-El's remaining half of a message is decoded by Lex Luthor. The latter half of the message instructs Superman to conquer Earth and make it a second Krypton. Throughout the movie, audiences are kept in the dark about whether that message was fabricated by Lex Luthor or was it real. However, in the podcast, James Gunn revealed that Jor-El and Lara's message is real and not at all doctored. The reason for this controversial choice was that Gunn wanted the audience to realize that Superman was his own person with his beliefs and moral codes, despite being directly ordered by his biological parents to conquer the home where he was raised. However, James Gunn did give Bradley Cooper his due screen time when he cast Cooper in the role of Jor-El, who appears in a hologram message in Superman. However, as the trailer dropped and hype started, people started accepting David Corenswet as the new Man of Steel and eventually fell in love with his portrayal, again, me being one of them. When David Corenswet was initially cast as Superman, there was an intense backlash because of Henry Cavill's controversial exit and his millions of fans, me being one of them. In a movie, we are introduced to some new and old characters from James Gunn's DCU, namely, Guy Gardner/Green Lantern, Nathan Fillion, Hawkgirl, Isabella Merced, and Mr. Terrific, Eddie Gathegi. The three heroes call themselves the Justice Gang and are financed by Maxwell Lord, who was played by Pedro Pascal in Wonder Woman 1984, and the film depicts an unfinished Hall of Justice building. The murals depict several heroes like Jay Garrick, Flash, Alan Scott, Green Lantern, and Dr. Fate, which suggests a history of the Justice Society of America. During his talks with IMDb, James Gunn revealed that he was watching the 2022 horror film Pearl. Corenswet had portrayed the role of the projectionist, and Gunn thought, that guy looks like he could possibly be Superman. A quick search on IMDb brought the actor's name, and the rest, as we know, is history. However, Cavill soon announced his departure from the newly formed DCU, which made